and welcome to our next lesson. So last month I introduced an eraser stick and a paper stump for you to use doing a graphite dragon drawing. And I was hoping that you would get a chance to use these two supplies and have a little bit of familiarity with them, because now we are going to learn how to do a cherub face using the paper stump and the eraser stick. Of course, you will use your pencil too, but I thought it would be good to try it first on a dragon and now to go to kind of more of a human face. And I know that can be super scary for people because it's like, oh no, I have to draw a human face, but we're gonna break it down into simple steps and make it easier for you. So this will probably be the end of my cheerful face for this video because you'll be watching my hands on the cherub face. All right, let's get started. Okay, I hope you will stick with me when you see what I've got going on here. We are going to use a grid method to draw this cherub face. And I know I've lost some of you already, but come back. The grid method is actually easier than it looks. And so first off, you've got your piece of paper, and I'd like for you to draw a gentle line, crossing it in half this way and crossing it in half that way. And then you're going to draw a gentle line, crossing it in half the two sides on the other side and chopping it in half this way. So you will have rectangles. And because I can't be sure that everyone put their tape on in exactly the same width, I'm measuring all the way to the edge of the paper. So I've drawn these little marks here for where the corners of my page is. See, so that I can measure from there when I'm finding my midpoints. All right, then I have a grid that is the same size on my image that I have drawn up for us of a simple cherub face. And yeah, I know, cherub faces aren't that simple. So this is as simple as I can get for us now, and hopefully it will work out. So we will get started drawing on the grid. So we have here rectangle 1A, and in this rectangle, there's only the tiniest bit of a line to draw. It kind of cuts this corner. So all I have to do is draw that and that rectangle. See? That's how this works. So next, rectangle B comes to the line very near to the top, so about here, and it'll connect from here to there. So I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to go up to that line. That is the outside line of rectangle B. Then it's got some interesting shapes. We've got a sideways letter V. We've got a squiggly line. And then we have another line there. And then I have line V, little v, and cutting the corner. So looks nothing like a human at this point, but that's what was in the second square. So if you get that, you're going to be on track. All right, square 3 or rectangle 3. This one gets a bit more complicated, but it's not awful. So this is where it was left off. And then on the other side, it's a bit shorter. So I'm going to be heading for here. I'm going to go down and over that. So it's like a sunset. And then I've got my little lines in here. So this way, this way. This is the part in her hair. Oh, look, it's going to join that little line we have right there. Hey, that worked out pretty good. Okay, and then this one's going to come back inside. And this one's going to come back inside. This one's going to come inside. This one's going to come inside, and then this one is going to come all the way and connect there and join the part. And then we have another one that goes to that line. All right. And up here we have a line that comes near to the part, crosses to there, crosses to there, crosses to there and there. And then we have a letter V upside down there. All right, so that's how we do that rectangle. See how this is easier than having a whole giant piece of paper and trying to draw something? All right, rectangle 4. So it's coming about to there. So I will make a mark here for where I'm headed. And then I will go ahead and head down there. Okay, so for that one, next, this line continues on and down. This line continues on and down. This V shape that we have cuts across to there and there. All right, that's all I needed to do in that rectangle. Oops, I made a mark. Gonna make that go away. Goodbye, mark. All right, now we'll get started on the second row. We're ready to do row 2. So here's my empty square for row 2, and this line comes down to this one. And then I've got, looks like I've got some wings over here. I'm going to do a little part of this curl. So we don't even necessarily need to know too much about even what it is, though that will be helpful for us later. So I've got those 2 lines, and let's see, I got to find where I'm going because this rectangle is a bit more crowded. So on the line at the bottom, I see 1, 2, 3 lines crossing that. So 1, 2, 3 lines crossing that. And then I see a line coming from the corner going this way. So a line at an angle there. That's going to help me. Phew. All right, so I've got those places where I'm going down there. Now I want to find where I'm going on this line. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things happening. Okay, so we've got our first one, second one, a little line, and that kind of thing happening. All right. So it was important to get those things in so that we didn't get lost and we didn't run out of space, because this one is, it's visually noisy, as they say. All right, then we're going to find the side. So this is for the wing that is showing. So on the side over here, I've got this, that, over on that side. Okay. Now we just need to connect everything so that we get it where it's going. All right, so that one. All right, it's gonna head down, and then it has a hook on it, and then it's gonna make its way to the middle of the 3 lines that we have on the bottom. So that's the middle. And so I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna make it all the way to this line so that these are both coming from here. And then I'm gonna come back to this little line to draw this little hook. So I get that point there. And then there's some little curl thing happening inside of there. So that ought to work. All right, next I want to finish this part of a wing, and make this get a little closer. And then there is a feather tip for that part of the wing. And I'm on purpose not connecting them to the cherub's head with a line. That way we can create like a soft border between the head and the wing. Okay, hopefully they're not all as complicated as that rectangle, but we made it. And I'm so glad to know that you can press pause and rewind The next rectangle is also a bit complicated. And so we're gonna put this one in place. Get that little curl in there. And let's find where we're headed. So we're gonna head for about here on our rectangle. And let's count up. 1, 2, and 3 more lines on that midline. So that's what's happening on that line. And we got everything on that line. And we got everything on that line. And there's nothing much else on this line. There's one more line here. So we'll put that one in position. All right, so now we just need to connect the insides. So it looks like we have, how do we connect to here? Okay, so this is gonna have its own little hook. And then this is gonna go up, over. It just mimics this. I think part of that might be a shadow. Got that. And then there's a little line there. Okay, now we'll see how this connects. How does this connect? All right, it connects with a V and the line. Okay, so it makes sense to do this one next because this one is going to go curve, 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 curve over to there. And this one kind of reminds me of a Nike swish because it's going to come in and curve back up and connect to there. And then we get to put this V shape and connect to that line there. And we've got our J shape going to there. And then this one attaches to there. Whew. Okay. So as we're doing this, close enough counts. It doesn't have to be exactly in the exact same space. Just close enough so that later on when we're doing some shading, you'll be able to follow along with me and not get too lost. I'm gonna make this one a little longer. Okay. All right, the next rectangle. So we obviously have those on that line. And so let's find the ones that are gonna be on this line over here. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3 diagonals, 1, 2, 3 diagonals. And then there's a line that kind of follows this line for a little while. Okay. All right, now we'll get those connected to where they go. Let's find the top one. It goes to here and here. So those both go that way. This one just kind of follows it and stops in the middle of nowhere. Then let's see what this one's doing. This one is, we'll do the top one first. So this one connects to here. This one comes all the way to there. This one comes up and then comes right back down again. So it's next to it. And then we have a cute little curl right about here. And then we have a part in the bangs that joins to this line on that side. All right, then we have a shadow coming around the curl that goes up and joins that line. All right, now we're ready for the last rectangle in row 2. All right, so we already know what's happening on this line. Nothing's happening on this side line. We know what's happening on the top line. So let's see what happens on the bottom. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 places where it intersects. So let's get here, here, there, and there. So curl up and down and back up again and in and up. Okay. Whew, that looks like a high heel shoe. Haha. All right, so this line is going to continue into the curl. This one is going to connect back to there. This one is going to connect This one is going to come down. And now we get to put other interesting things. We've got a letter M with an extra hump. And then we get to kind of curl around and out and down to this line. And this one gets to curl up and up. And this one goes to there. And this is the side of our face that goes up and a diagonal to join it. And then there's this, we'll find out what that is in a moment. Got like a little mark in there like that. All right. Phew, we're almost done with the cherub's hairstyle. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that the cherub has so much thick curly hair. All right, now we'll get ready for row 3. Ah, I see some eyes coming up in this row. Okay, row 3. So first we have some angel feathers to take care of over here. So these are going to come down and curl up for an angel feather, down and off the page. This is going to come back in, and back in. So those are some wing feathers. Then we've got this curl that comes back inside his face and joins back up. And the ear, which goes part of the way down. And a little hook on that ear right there. And then we've got some curly hair. Whee! Curly hair. And then the lower part of the hair that kind of follows and works its way up. All right. And there's a bit of shirt. There's some shoulder here in this picture. So we're going to go up and over to this line and work our way down for part of the yoke of that shirt. All right. That is rectangle A in row 3. So now, ready for the second one. And the eyebrow just barely crosses that line right there. And then the eyelid is right under it and ventures that way. And then we'll finish getting our ear on. So the face, let's think about the face, is going to come about to here. And the ear is going to come in. And so the face is going to do this. Get that part of our face. Our hair goes over and back to their shirt or shoulder. And then there's our line down there. So we've got that. And then we've got our eye is going to be under that. Here's the left curve. The right curve is on the line. I made the eye a little more open this time. So we'll see what happens in just a minute. We'll see if that was a good idea or not. All right, so the brows are going to work their way down. Eyelid down. Top of the eye is mostly straight. Okay, we have an eye. Below the eye, we have, let's see, yep, we have the curve for the nose. We have a line for the end of the nose. This is not a pug-nosed angel because it stays flat instead of popping up. The eyebrow is all happening inside of this rectangle. All right, and it's got a cute little crooked mouth that is going to be right down the line. So we have our little smile line for our cheek. We're going to draw the center of the mouth first. So up, down, up, straight. So that's the center. And then we're going to draw the curve for those little pointy things. And this goes pointy to there. And this goes pointy to there. And then it's got cute full lips that go almost straight down. Okay, we got even bigger lips than that. Okay, that'll be cute though. All right, and now we're gonna get our eye. Very little of the eye crosses this line, so, and we've got a bit of space. And we'll put our people in. Okay. And, oh, corner of the face comes this way. Okay, we got a corner of the face and a teeny bit of the shirt even shows. Okay. All right. Last square. We got the, we know the face is coming to here, so here we go. Made it over, yay! Okay. And then the hair. We don't see the other ear because the face is tilted a bit. So that's why this eye's closer to this side and there's a farther distance there. Hey, I forgot the inside of this ear. Phew, good thing I was looking. All right. So that's why it's tilted a little bit to looking to the side. So you can't see this ear. You only see hairstyle over here. All right, we now have that row completed. Now we're ready for the last and final row, row 4. So rectangle A and row 4, there's just this little line that crosses here from the shoulder, and this line that comes down here from the shirt. Great, okay. Then we'll move on to the next one. And we see that the chin crosses a little part of this triangle, makes a triangle. And then we have the yoke of the shirt that comes down. So we will also do that. And then there's some pleats. There's short pleat, long pleat, long pleat, long pleat. Okay, now we're ready for, look how the progress we're making. Yay. Okay, so now we just need the other side of the chin, which now we know just goes to here. So we're gonna go down and right up to there, and then complete the yoke of the neck on the shirt. And get our rest of our pleats. We've got 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we have this sweet little shoulder in our last square. And ta-da! We've drawn the whole thing. All right. Amazing, right? Okay. Phew. So now that we've drawn the whole thing, we can double check, make sure everything connects and makes sense. And then we're going to erase out these lines. So you decide which eraser is your favorite. You can use the big eraser or you can use this little pencil eraser. You can get all of those cleaned out so we don't need the grid any longer. And we're going to start in with our shading. So if you did the dragon project with us, you know that I looked for the darkest darks next. So let's do that. Let's find the darkest darks in our picture. So first off, I'm going to do kind of like this area with some gray. And when you sharpen your pencil, you will have a point, but you'll also have this like sideways bit of your lead if it's pretty sharp. If it's dull, like this one, then you're kind of out of luck. But this one is kind of sharp enough that I can get this whole edge. So I'm going to put my finger behind it so that I can go like this. And I'm going to use the side to lay in a darker shadow behind our cherub. Up in this left-hand corner. So I've got that laid in. I'm going to come across the top. And I'm not going to go all the way down because different stuff happens down there. This dark shadow is mostly just at the top here. Okay, so we've got that laid in. And then I'm going to put some shadow parts kind of over under these wings. So I'm going to put a little shadow here and here under this feather. Kind of continue under the feather for some dark lines on that side with not a lot of detail. So put a shadow there, shadow under here, just to have some depth to those feathers on that side. Okay, so that's over there. Okay, next we're going to do some different shadows on some hair parts. So it's a stone cherub is the idea. So the stone has been formed to be like the shape of hair. So some of these places that we've drawn are places where we get to put some shading inside. So these little spaces get to have little shadows inside of them. All right, so those shadows that I've been putting on haven't been really strong shadows, but you know, they exist and they're present and they're like kind of like medium dark. So now I'm gonna put like a really dark shadow. So I'm gonna kind of come around this curl here, and this one is gonna be a lot darker. So it's sticking out farther from the face and it's casting a really intense shadow there. So that's very, 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 very dark. All right, and then it's buddy shadows that are very dark. There's going to be one here to this line is very dark, and up in this M is very dark. And then there's a very dark one here. Here. Here, and the very, very, very dark one is down here. All right, so it's starting to get some form by adding those really dark places. Oh, there's a really dark place here above the ear, just a little bit, and we're gonna go even this way, and a little under the hook of the ear. Okay, and then this curl has quite a dark shadow. And this is a very dark shadow. That's probably why this shape follows this, is because it's an intense shadow shape. And here. All right. Okay, we've got the darkest of shadows down there. The neck itself casts a dark shadow. So we will come under, and we want to kind of follow this line and go this way. We want it to be a straight line, not straight, but we want it to not be like hairy, because then it will look like our cherub has a beard. So we want to follow the line with a smooth edge instead of a fuzzy edge there. It's going to go across the shoulder, but it's not as dark on this part. Just dark at the beginning, but not the whole way. All right, got that shadow in place. Now, the face part. We're all kind of scared about the face, so we know that it's darker down in the depth parts right here. And it's going to be darker where the eye lid comes across, and darker in this corner, and darker in that corner. The nose is casting quite a shadow here to the eye, and up to this brow. There's also a shadow right here and a little ways past the eye. We also have a shadow that comes down the side of the face. It just follows this edge. And then there's the darkness where the eyelid comes across the eye. And instead of being the whites of the eye, this one has a shadowy part of the eye. Okay, shadow comes down the side of the nose and on the front of the nose here. Then there's that cute little shadow for that divot that we have above our nose, maybe below our nose, above our lip. Little shadow there. Quite a lot of shadow on this upper lip going this way, so it's pretty dark. So we're just going to color this pretty dark on the top, right up to that point, and all the way over. This all has quite a lot of color, so it almost looks like a mustache at this point. That's normal. That's what we need to get that shape there. Then not the lip gets colored, so draw under here, under the lip, the not the lip part gets colored. So that's the part that the lip sticks out, creates a shadow. Look at that, we're getting a face. All right, there you got a dark shadow in the little dimple and more gentle shadow coming over for his little chubby cheek. And kind of up the side to show that the face has a width to it. Okay, now we have a little shading just above this line and over into this eyebrow. Now, if we end up with some pucks instead of some cherubs, that's okay too. Mischievousness can be fine, and it can be fun. So now let's get the shadows on the pleats and on the collar of the shirt. So we'll need a little bit of shading just below here, and then it's going to go in to the space made by the pleat. And so then this one will have the shadow on the inside. Notice there's like a pattern. This is the part that sticks out, this sticks in, sticks out, sticks in, sticks out, sticks in, sticks out, and then kind of comes around like that. And then we'll have our shadow here. And let's create a little divot for her shoulder, or his shoulder, kind of like around in there. All right, so that's all the places that we're gonna color a shadow at this point. And so what we wanna do is get our paper stump out. Now, paper stumps are better when they're not brand new. So the fact that we use it for our dragon and have like pencil on there, that's great. Don't worry, you don't have to go buy a new stump every time you draw a picture, because we're glad that it has that graphite on it. So glad, in fact, that we're going to start up here where we have graphite to get even more on it. So we're just kind of rub and smooth that in. See how that blends in and gets it nice and an even color. So at this point, my paper stump can draw. So I want to stay over here in this section while I'm doing this to blend this in. Because if I start drawing here, it's going to go there. So. As a matter of fact, now that I'm at this side, I'm just going to keep blending down to show you how far I can go. I didn't color down here. This is just wearing some of that from here, dragging it down, kind of creating the ombre effect. It's called gradation, but ombre effect is fun. All right, now we'll use our paper stump to blend the places that we shaded in the hair. Okay, so first I just blended it in the places where I put it, and now I'm gonna rotate it a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these colors all into all the spaces. So it will have darker places and lighter places as a result, but there will be a tone kind of everywhere. And the other side too. Now we're going to blend on the skin tone. So I've put some shadows in some places, so I'm going to be maybe a bit more distinguishing. We'll see. I'm going to kind of shade in there, shade in there. Across the side. Corner of the chin. Get on this nose part there. Okay, I'm gonna go on inside these eyes. Okay, that looks a little scary for now, but we're gonna get it back, so don't worry. That's just the next step, that's all. Blend these lips. All right, then I'm going to put a little, see, I'll put a gentle line under the eyes so that it creates those lids that go around the eyeball at the bottom. I'm going to do a little curve here for the brow. And kind of go a little farther up the side of the head over here. I'll have this part curve over to joint. So the nice thing about using a paper stump is it's more gentle. If we had drawn lines with our pencil there, it would have made it look like age lines instead of the cute little puffs that a cherub would have. draw the rest of the eyebrow. So this is really fun for me to get to kind of like shade on the skin. And so now let's do some little neck shadows too. So we'll do our darkest shadow and come right next to the neck there. So one of the things I notice is that it's a little difficult to tell from this dark shadow here and the chin itself. So we'll probably be erasing a highlight there to make sure that that can show. All right? Okay, so now let's move on to the little outfit that we have on our cherub. Get those little tucks on the pleats. And a really dark shadow over here. Okay. Inside the ear, we need a little shadow into the, I don't know why I keep forgetting about the inside of that ear. That's twice now. Okay, got that. And then we'll do little feather puffs. Instead of shading this, we'll use our stick to do like little tufts on the feather. So that will be a little bit different texture. So it won't be the same as everything else. Okay, we've drawn it, we've shaded the darker areas, we've used our paper stump to blend. So now we are ready. Oh, you know what? Children have this little divot, like their brows kind of go in a little bit. So I'm gonna put a little shading there so that can go in. Make that a little darker on that side. Before we use our fine point eraser, I'm just going to use my big eraser to kind of mute that little shadow part that I added there at the end so that it still exists, but it's not as powerful. I had maybe more graphite on my blender stick than I thought. Okay, and then I can erase pretty good right there for the highlight. Okay. We are ready for our eraser stick. So now this is fun because this is going to be where the light hits on the strands of hair. So we've got all these places that are next to the shadows. So that's going to be where the lightest hair is. So the lightest places are next to the darkest places. And it might be a little hard to see because the eraser is still there. So when I dust off the dust, see, you can see it a little more clearly. So this is how you can get those real swirly curls. See that nice swirly curl? So think like cinnamon rolls. You can even be more extreme than me if you want. See that? Get a curl going this way. There, that looks great. Okay, now that we have the highlights in the hair, we'll go and put some highlights on the face. So we've got our shadows here, and we want to get some high points. So like if this got gray, where the eye hits the eyelid makes the eyelids the highest. And then we want to erase, of course, that point of light for the reflected light. And then that U around the eye for that translucence that we have for the iris part of our eyes. And then we'll get a little highlight here on the nose. It's kind of shaped like a backwards L. Highlight by the edge. We want to get our little divot here and our little line that follows that lip there, and that little highlight on the part of the upper lip that sticks out. And we didn't color here, but just in case any smudges got on it, we're going to go ahead and erase that bottom lip so it sticks out. And we're going to get our little chin here. And I talked about this earlier. Very gently, I'm just going to kind of erase some reflected light in the shadow. So the shadow is still there, but I have that line that makes that chin stick out farther than the shadow on the neck. And I'm going to erase a highlight on the ear. I didn't forget about the ear this time. And then we'll follow our shirt, get those little highlights on the pleats. Oops, I erased the line that I did not mean to erase, so I'm gonna put that back in there. There. The eraser was so good, it erased that line. All right, we're mostly done. After you erase, if something is gone that you want to keep back, if you erase too much, for instance, you can draw those things back. And if like something got cleaned up on your edges like this, you can put those back. And I think what I would like to see is maybe a bit more dark up in here. So not the whole thing. I want it to look like a blurry, like it's out of focus in the back. So I'm gonna just change up the directions. So it's like something is back there, but we can't make it out. And there. I can blend that a little more. Getting the dust off. All right, so that's what we got. I think I'd like to see a bit more shading right here. So this is where the hair kind of comes around under the ear, and I feel like there would be a bit more shadow there. So I'm just going to shadow that up. Yeah, I like that. Yep, and then I want that highlight next to it like I did before on the chin. And the little face would be a little flatter right next to the ear. All right, so those were just like the little finishing touches that I added in. So there we have it, a cherub. Can you believe it? All right, and then you'll want to sign it and remove the tape. So this was in 2021, woohoo! All right, so low and at a right angle, we'll just remove our tape. Ta-da! It is just as cute as our dragon was fierce. All right, thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you at one of our meetups.